Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021. Let's call the meeting to order. And Board Clerk, can we do roll call, please?
Student Trustee Uroni. Trustee Withrow.
Here.
Trustee Jenkins.
Here.
Trustee Handy.
Here.
Trustee Delphine Polk.
Here.
Trustee Bonilla.
Present.
Trustee Gonzalez Ewan.
Yes.
Trustee Napoleon Valeries.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Great. And now let's move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Handy, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance once the flag is on the screen?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of
of the United States
of America.
and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for which it
which
stands,
it stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty,
liberty
justice,
and justice for all.
Sorry, thank you for that.
President, are you there? I think we lost.
Sorry about that. Great, let us move on to the affirmation of cooperation. If we can get that on the screen, that would be fantastic. Okay. The board is, as per usual, we are going to start with the parameters and the framework of the cooperation statement. The board is continuing to work on trust in and among our members. Number two, we agreed to listen and seek to understand others and opposing viewpoints with expectation of good intention and a deep commitment to the district's students. We commit to being prepared for each meeting and will work within our established communications protocols. When we seek additional information, members will review the agenda in advance of each meeting and adhere to Board Policy 2340 for adding items to the agenda. Number four, we have reviewed the board's code of ethics and commit to reviewing it annually at our organizational meeting to remind ourselves of the behavior we are to exhibit and the guidelines we are to follow in our role. Number five, if the code of ethics is violated, we commit to follow the process stated in the code and will first address concerns informally to settle disagreements one-on-one between and among members before moving to the formal process. Number six, we agree that from time to time, the chair will remind members of appropriate behavior and may call for a recess to redirect members if they stray away from the topic of discussion. Number seven, we collectively recognize that it is within the duties and authority of the chair to render decisions, to take actions, to keep our meetings on track in adherence to board policy. Number eight, we will strive to fulfill the vision we established for ourselves. Number nine, we will model the behavior we want others to exhibit. Okay. Let us move on to the swearing in ceremony for incoming student trustees.
Oh, you actually skipped
May
item
we go
2.
to that?
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
thank you. Report of action taken in closed session.
Yes.
Thank you
All right.
for that. Trustee Gonzalez UN.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the public. At tonight's closed session, the board voted on the following items. Public employee appointment. Let's see, item 1.4, public employee appointment. We voted on 6 items. All of them were 7-0-0 votes, with all trustees voting in the affirmative. There was a motion made by myself, seconded by President Napoli Bella-Reese, on the following recommendations. Recommendation to appoint Angel Fuentes as the Dean of Academic and Student Affairs, Math and Sciences at Laney College at $126,816 annually, effective July 1, 2021 through June 30, 2023. And that position reports to the Vice President of Instruction. Recommendation to appoint Alejandro Tomas as the Dean of Academic and Student Affairs, Career and Technical Ed at Laney College at $132,580 annually, effective June 23, 2021 through June 30, 2023. That position also reports to Vice President of Instruction. Ratification of Chancellor's appointment of Olivia Rocha as the Interim Director of Facilities and Operations in the District Office at $138,345 annually, effective June 14, 2021 through December 13, 2021. This position reports to the Vice Chancellor of General Services. Recommendation to appoint Jennifer Ma as the Director of Financial Aid Services, Laney College at $115,287 annually, effective July 12, 2021 through June 30, 2023. This position reports to the Dean of Academic and Student Affairs. Recommendation to appoint Diana Bajrami as the Acting Vice President of Instruction at the College of Alameda at $167,167 annually, effective June 28, 2021, until the position is filled on a permanent basis. And then recommendation to extend the appointment of Shamila Johnson, NACAE Consortium Director in the District Office at $149,874 annually through June 30, 2024. Ms. Johnson's current contract expires on June 30, 2023, and her position reports to the Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs. The board welcomes all of these new and continuing employees into the district, and thanks you for your service. Madam President, that concludes tonight's closed session readout.
Wonderful. Thank you. Do I have an echo?
Yeah, there's a little bit of an echo there.
Okay, my apologies. Hold on for 1 second. Technical difficulties. Okay. Do you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, let us go into the swearing in ceremony for incoming student trustees.
Do you want me to share the oath, Sasha?
That works. Yes. Thank you.
Wonderful. Who am I starting off with? Shall we do both individually? This is hard to do because we usually do this in person, right? So shall I start off with, who shall I start off with? One at a time? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, and do we have our student trustees, our wonderful student trustees here? Are you present?
Yes, ma'am. They are both here.
Great, wonderful. Please follow after me. I do solemnly swear to carry out my responsibilities as student trustee of the Peralta Community College District.
I, Mike Cooper, do solemnly swear to carry out my responsibilities as student trustee of the Peralta Community College District.
I do personally commit myself to convey the concerns of the student body to the Board of Trustees and to convey the concerns of the Board of Trustees to the student body to the best of my ability.
I do personally commit myself to convey the concerns of the student body to the Board of Trustees and to convey the concerns of the Board of the Trustees to the student body to the best of my ability.
Wonderful. So Ms. Hogan, we'll do you afterwards, but let's do Mr. Michael Cooper right now. Thank you, Michael Cooper. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our student trustee for 2021-22. Glad to have you.
Thank you so much.
Of course. And now let's go to Miss Lisa Hogan. Miss Lisa Hogan, if you could also repeat after me. I do solemnly swear to carry out my responsibilities as student's trustee of the Peralta Community College District.
I, Lisa Hogan, do solemnly swear to carry out my responsibilities as student trustee of the Peralta Community College District. Sorry, I have no voice.
Oh, no, we hear you. I do personally commit myself to convey the concerns of the student body to the Board of Trustees and to convey the concerns of the Board of Trustees to the student body to the best of my ability.
I do personally commit myself to convey the concerns of the student body to the Board of Trustees and to convey the concerns of the Board of Trustees to the student body to the best of my ability.
Wonderful. Welcome to you, Ms. Lisa Hogan. We look forward to having you as our student trustee for the year 2021 to 2022. Welcome.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, let us move on to 2.7, approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. May I have a second for that, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen. Let us go to 2.8, approval of the minutes. We've got two. Yes, Sasha.
We need a vote. We need a vote.
Oh, vote, please.
Trustee Withrow,
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
Trustee Handy,
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen,
Yes.
Trustee Napolia Bellaris.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, the motion passes for 2.8. Right, now let us move on to 2.9. Approval of the minutes for the June 8, 2021 regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow.
Second.
Second.
Second, I'll give that to Trustee Jenkins. Roll call, please.
Trustee Withrow,
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
Excuse me, can I just interrupt for a quick second? I believe our normal protocol is to poll the student trustees' votes first and then to go to the rest of the board. And I think we might have missed the student trustee votes on the last one. And I know last year we had some difficulty with the trustees, but so that wasn't ever kind of built in. But if we could make sure that we do that. Thank you.
You're exactly
Just
right.
a point of clarification. If you were not in attendance, you cannot vote on an item that you were not present.
The minutes.
You affirm.
And then you would abstain. But I want to just make sure that we just get the student trustees in the order. And I think we normally poll them first so that their advisory vote is considered by the full board as we cast our votes. I think that's our
Yes.
protocol, yes?
Yes, it is. It is.
Thank
you
Thanks
so
for
much.
reminding us.
so can I just make a point of quick clarification?
Of course.
It was my, I apologize. It's my understanding that with the new trustees that are now sworn in, it was my assumption that they would then start being on the roll call for the next meeting, because we still have student trustee Uroni for this meeting until July 1st.
Yes.
And so she is technically absent, hence why I was not asking for her vote. So the student trustees can still be on the board meeting now, but they would then be on the next roll call for the next following meeting. That was my understanding.
That's
Point of
correct.
order. I think the board policy calls for student trustees to be sworn in after June 1st. I think that is our board policy. I was just looking at it today, and if I'm mistaken, then I apologize, but I think that is actually the board policy.
June 1st is when they're sworn in, but from what I read was that trustee Uroni finishes July 1st.
Mhm.
So
Right.
I will
she is
defer to
on-
general counsel on this
That's
one.
right.
Mhm.
Natasha, can you provide clarity on this item?
Hi, Chancellor Jackson. Thank you for the question. I need to look up the board policy to make sure that I advise you correctly. It would be highly unusual to have an overlapping term So let me get clarity and I'll report right back. I'll do it right now.
Perhaps we can come back to this vote and proceed.
Okay, so let's come back to both 2.8 as well as 2.9, and let us progress to 2.10, which is our associated student government reports. Do we have any student leaders in the virtual room?
I'm not sure if Deanna or Diana is. Sasha, did anybody reach out to you?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No one has reached. I think because of the summer session that they're all on vacation.
I don't believe we do.
Okay. Thank you.
I could share a student report from the Associated Students of Merritt College. I'm happy to report that we're doing a lot of discussion and collaboration over the summer to try and be better prepared for the coming semester. Our advisor, Director Hankins, has been amazingly available through this break period to help me get some things set up for our board members to start preparing. And we are working towards bridging some of our activities with the new College Student Advisory Board through the city of Oakland, and hoping to branch these networks of important information and advocacy to better serve one another. And that's all for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. And since we have, I'm sorry.
President Reese,
Yes.
just to report back to the Chancellor on the question about the term for the student trustee. The term does begin on June 1st. So the trustees that were just sworn in, their term has technically begun now that they've been sworn in. And so they are able to cast advisory votes beginning in this meeting. And we will be able to recognize the service of Trustee Urani at the next board meeting and recognize her and her service to the board and to the district.
Great. Thank you for that guidance, Natasha. All right, then let us go back to 2.8 and let's ask for the advisory votes. Need we go through the whole vote again, or can we just ask for those two advisory votes, even though they're going to be abstentions? Yes, Natasha.
President, just to add, if the student trustee, I served as a student trustee, and I know that it's a lot to be on the screen. So if they haven't had a chance to prepare on these items and want to start issuing their advisory votes at this meeting or the next meeting, you know, as they wish, but just so they don't feel any undue pressure in the moment.
Okay, I'm seeing a sigh of relief from Micah. And Lisa, I will assume that you both will stay on as panelists, but why don't we have you officially start with your advisory votes at the next meeting? Does that sound wonderful? Okay. All right, and let's move on to 2.9, approval of the minutes for June 8, 2021. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. Second, Trustee Jenkins had already done that earlier, so now let's do roll call.
Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins?
Yes.
Trustee Handy?
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Pope?
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez-Ewan?
Yes.
And Trustee Napoli Bellarice?
Yes.
Motion passes. Quick
Thank
point of
you.
order, President. I didn't officially get the vote for 2.8 for the special meeting minutes.
Okay, would you like us to do it again?
Yes, please.
All right,
Move
let's do
approval.
2. Thank you. Trustee Jenkins, second.
Yes.
So,
Second.
okay, and then who was our first?
I made the motion.
Great. Thank you, Trustee Gonzalez-Yuan, and second by Trustee Jenkins. Roll call, please.
Trustee Withrow,
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
Trustee Handy,
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez-Yuan,
Yes.
Trustee Napoli Bellariz.
Thank you. I just realized that I went back a little bit further than I should have because we were already in the midst of 2.10. So we just got our report from our Merritt student. And do we have any more students in the room? I think that was a conversation that was happening.
No, we do not.
Thank you, Maisha. Let's move to 2.11 then, Peralta Classified Senate Report.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
We can, thank you, Terrence.
Fantastic. Good evening, President Reese, members of the Board of Trustees, Chancellor Jackson, presidents, and guests. Tonight we have two classified Senate campus reports. The first report comes from the Berkeley City College Classified Senate. BCC Classified Senate Officer elections is completed. The new Senate President will be Andrea Wood. Vice President is Fumi Sayavong, and Secretary Treasurer is Jennifer Lanahan. The new officers will begin on July 1st. The BCC Classified Senate is preparing to have a professional development retreat in late July. The second report comes from the District Service Center Classified Senate. The District Service Center Classified Senate meets once per month, every second Tuesday of the month from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. The executive leadership team, the officers within the Senate, met on May 27, 2021 to discuss setting fiscal year 2021 through 2022 Senate goals. Our focus is in the following areas, and we are currently requesting for volunteers to join us. Professional development and building career pathways for classified experts. Increase engagement among classified experts and creating more opportunities for all the Senates to come together to drive initiatives which have a direct impact on the Peralta student experience. And creating a classified expert student scholarship fund. The executive leadership team met with Chancellor Jackson on June 15th, 2021. We are appreciative of the time our current Chancellor, Dr. Jackson, gave us to discuss the following matters: the Peralta Community College District hiring committee process, fiscal year 2021 to 2022 Senate goals, and return to work. Lastly, committees and / task force, the Senate welcomes all classified experts to participate in our monthly meetings. That is the end of the campus reports. Thank you very much for your support of the Peralta Classified Senate.
Thank you, Terrence, for that. Let's move to 2.12, District Academic Senate Report.
Good evening, President Reese, members of the board, Chancellor Jackson, presidents, and guests. Summer session started, and the COA, I think, is finishing up their 3.5-week intersession, I believe, this week. And the issue at present has been the, I guess, fraud with students applying, or not students applying, but other people applying. And so that's been circulating among faculty. And my hope is that the faculty who are teaching this summer were able to basically indicate that they didn't show up for class and were able to do the census tract. But that obviously then created problems with our overall goal of meeting our FTES today. So that was a surprising news, but we heard that it was also at other colleges here. So hopefully we have a way of addressing this for the fall as we prepare for the fall. and excited about more advertisement coming from the district for our fall, and look forward to seeing our students and our faculty back come August. The District Academic Senate will be meeting in August, coming back after the summer recess. So again, look forward to the fall, and look forward to seeing what the rest of the summer brings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Donald. And Vice President Gonzalez-Yuan, we are in public communications. I will hand that over to you.
Thank you. I'm told we have 3 people who've signed up for public communications: Bianca Montes de Oca, Kimberly King, and one other person. I can't quite figure this one out. It just says closed captioner.
So I have moved over Blanca Montes de Oca and the closed caption person. We have 2 additional folks that don't look like they signed up, but let me know if you want me to move them over to see if they want to talk.
Maisha, please move me over. I'm sorry, I missed.
Okay.
I wasn't supposed to speak.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll do. Move you back over to attendee, right, Blanca?
Yeah, attendee, yes.
Okay, we'll do.
I see. So I think, you know, we've got adequate time right now. If the board does not object, the rest of the board does not object to allowing the additional people who missed the sign-up deadline. I think it's just 2.
Yeah.
Why don't we go ahead and allow that? We seem to have time. But why don't we start with the people who signed up? Person who is signed in as closed captioner, why don't you come in and we'll see who you are and what's on your mind.
They are in and they're muted. I'm not sure if you're speaking, but you are muted. In the meantime, I can move over Diana and Lisa.
And is Kimberly King?
She is not
present. Okay.
Not in present right now yet, not yet.
Okay. Lisa Webb, you signed up for public comment?
Actually, I did not sign up for public comment. I'm not sure how that happened.
That's fine. And then Diana Bashrami, were you coming for public comment, or you were just coming to observe? No. Okay. So except for our closed captioner who is still muted, I believe we have no one else because no one else has showed up. So President Napoli Bellarice, I think we are ready to move along then, unless our closed captioner providing captions for today's meeting. Okay. Thank you so much. And I guess we don't have anybody for public comment then today.
Okay. Thank you for that, Vice President Gonzalez-Yuan. Then let's move on to 2.14, Chancellor's reports.
Thank you, President Napoli Bellarice. And good afternoon to the board members. I hope that isn't me re-signing. I apologize. I'd like to start with the presidents for them to make their report, and we will go with our traditional order of Berkeley City College, followed by College of Alameda, Laney College, and Merritt College. And then I will make some remarks also.
Can everyone mute other than the speaker, please? Or can you mute? There's several people who are unmuted. I think that's where the background is coming from. Thanks.
Presidents, if you would like me to share your reports, as always, please let me know.
Thank you, Maisha. Good evening, everyone. No need to share the report. Good evening, members of the Board of Trustees, colleagues, guests. Thrilled to offer the BCC report today. In addition to what you have received in the written report, I want to highlight just a few things. The first is to congratulate our librarian and faculty member, Heather Dodge. She was recently selected by the statewide academic senate to become the regional rep for the online educational resources initiative that's taking place throughout the state. As someone who has been a champion of equitizing and making educational resources more affordable and equitable for students, we are absolutely thrilled to support her and sponsor her in her representation, not only of Berkeley City College, but of the great work that's happening across our district. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge that our new HSI director, Veronica Montoya, for our Los Caminos project program has started, and it has been a real smooth transition. We welcome her with a wealth of expertise around grants development, and more specifically in terms of providing achievable outcomes and producing results for closing student equity gaps, especially amongst our Latino, Latina, and Latinx students. So hope to see you all be invited as we begin the new year with our program rollout. Very exciting news that we just found out a couple of days ago is that one of our very own Berkeley City College students was recognized from the CalWorks Association as the Student Voices 2021 Scholarship Winner of the Year. So we are thrilled that Miss Devon Crawford, who is a mom of 4, was selected from across the state for her accomplishment and commitment to her education, and certainly what a phenomenal example, not only to her own children, but for our entire BCC community, students who are also parents. And lastly, to close out my comments, coming off of just 2 days ago on Monday, June 21st, we had our participatory governance retreat where the President's cabinet leadership team with academic senate leadership, classified senate leadership, and faculty leads, chairs and co-chairs from across our governance committees. We all came together. We reviewed our survey results from our committee members from throughout the year to hear the affirmations for the good work that we're doing, take into account the recommendations that our peers are offering to improve our governance structure. And I must say, and I don't mean this lightly, we had fun. We engaged in some good, thoughtful reflections. And I look forward to seeing how this is going right into our action planning to support institutional effectiveness, the college strategic plan, the district strategic plan, and really commit our focus to honoring governance, honoring input, and being relentlessly focused on student success, completion, and equity. So with that, that concludes my report this evening. Thank you.
Okay, I am up. Good evening, President Reese, trustees, Chancellor Jackson, colleagues, and guests. I would like to begin my report by thanking our wonderful faculty, staff, and administrators who served on our Guided Pathway lead team for their work mapping all of our academic programs to our new fields of study, which include number 1, arts, language, and communication, business, entrepreneurship, and transportation. Number 3, health, science, and technology. Number 4, culture and society. And number 5, general education and undecided. This is a key milestone in our Guided Pathway Scale of Adoption plan. During the upcoming academic year 21-22, we will be focused on implementing redesigned organizational structures, processes, and practices that support our new fields of study. Our chief aim is to have every student achieve their educational objective in the shortest amount of time possible and with a high degree of success in a student-centered environment that reflects our unwavering commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, which will be accomplished through our Guided Pathways framework. While it is summer, and many are taking well-deserved breaks from work, numerous priority institutional objectives are still being advanced. From teaching out our spring intercession courses to enhance our 2021 enrollment numbers, planning for the fall, as well as recruiting for critical faculty, staff, and administrative positions. We are redesigning our college website based on guided pathways, as well as effective student-focused communication and support. We're pursuing grant opportunities and preparing to commence the updating of our education master plan in the fall, which will include a strengths, weaknesses, and opportunity analysis of our critical stakeholders, students, faculty, staff, administrators, and community partners. In my July report, I'll provide the board with high-level data and information on our aviation maintenance tech program as requested in the last board meeting. Lastly, I would like to honor, appreciate, and celebrate outstanding members of the College of Alameda community who are retiring. Collectively, they have served the Peralta Community College District for more than 150 years. Our longest serving classified retiree is Miss Brenda Lewis, assistant to the dean, who began her distinguished career here in 1988 and achieving numerous accomplishments to her credit, both within the community college, Peralta Community College family, as well as in her community. Our longest serving faculty retiree is Mr. Gary Perkins, who began his service to the district in 1990. Mr. Perkin taught business and computer information courses. Our other wonderful retirees include Ing Coffer, radiology instructor, Linda Durant, former Thomas coach, Deborah Green, academic counselor, Cheryl Peel, library technician, Lawrence Silva, workability coordinator and instructor, Juanita Tyree, radiology instructor. We thank our retirees for their service to our district and our students, and we wish them the very best in all of their future endeavors. This ends my report, and thank you for your time.
Good evening, Chancellor Jackson, members of the board, and colleagues in education. It was certainly great to hear this evening the board action welcoming and giving me the opportunity to welcome Dr. Angel Fuentes, Alejandria Tomas, and Jennifer Ma, who will respectively be our Dean of Math and Science, Dean of CTE, and Director of Financial Aid. And we're also excited to be welcoming Dr. Rebecca Upsada as our Permanent Vice President of Instruction, who will begin on July 1st as well. As I welcome these individuals, however, I would be terribly remiss if I did not recognize and thank three outstanding educational leaders for their service over the past year. Laura Espino, Professor Laura Espino, served as our acting Dean of Humanities, Social Sciences, and Applied Technology, while Dr. Fields served as Vice President of Instruction. Professor Tariq El-Jarari served as the acting Dean of Math and Science and did a great job. And I would also like to extend special thanks and gratitude to Dr. Mark Fields, who served as the acting Vice President of Instruction over this past year. So just really want to tip my cap and recognize these great colleagues as we move forward. Speaking of great colleagues, we had, prior to the first week of the summer, we had a phone banking effort, and thanks to the coordination of our Public Information Officer, Lorena Baldazzo, Arlene Lontock in the President's Office, Dean Laura Espino, Dean Beth Maher, as well as Dean Diane Chang. In addition to their leadership and coordination, we had 20 volunteers come forward and within the span of 3 days call 1,115 students to do a wellness check and answer any questions that they had. But as I appreciate these colleagues, I also have to look across the district and convey appreciation to Merritt College. This was an effort that we engaged in, but we did really by exchanging some best practices, including our phone scripts and just some other advice. So to Dr. Johnson and to Jennifer Shanowski and to our colleagues at Merritt, thank you for that opportunity to share. And in closing my report this evening, I'd like to highlight two great external partners. As you know, I like to try to do this every single report. First of all, to the East Bay Municipal Utility District, East Bay MUD. 21 students earned their water management certificates and were recognized at the last East Bay MUD board meeting. And just to tell you a little bit about this partnership, it's so outstanding. Our business and construction management departments, particularly Professor Kim Glosson, Professor Kelly Lynch McMahon, Professor Fred Jackson, and Professor Carl Seelbach, have taught within this program since 2017. And it was just so great at the East Bay MUD board meeting to see those graduates recognized and commended for the work that they had done. And it's something that represents an opportunity for career advancement for them, which is outstanding. In addition to that, Laney has a 15-year partnership with Alameda County. And particularly since 2018, we've had our management supervision certificate. This has afforded these graduates 18 transfer units. In addition to that, work experience credit, 6 months worth. Also, there has been just incredible opportunities. And within that, the common thread between the partnership with East Bay MUD and Alameda County has been Professor Kim Glosson in our business department. She's been so instrumental, not only with her teaching, but her leadership and coordination of these. And if you'd like to learn more about the partnership and specifically our grads through Alameda County, there is a link within your board report this evening that profiles these great graduates. So with that tonight, I'll conclude my report. Thank you.
Right. Thank you for the shout out, by the way, Rudy, appreciate it. So good evening, trustees, chancellor, and colleagues. I am pleased to share this report for Merritt College. So first, Merritt College is partnering with Oakland Unified School District right now, their Office of Equity and Inclusion, to offer the African American Achievement Pathway to College program. Now, this program, the aim of this initiative is to increase the number of young African American men and women who are prepared to enter careers or complete transfer college coursework. Now, this summer, the cohort that we brought in, they're going to participate in one of 5 what we're calling career exploration summer academies. So the academies or pathways they all have a very unique name. It's either I-Care, the I-Care pathway, which is healthcare, the I-Serve pathway, which is public safety or administration of justice primarily and legal studies, the IDEAL pathway, which is business and real estate, I-GROW pathway, which is food systems and landhort, and then finally I-Research, which is bioscience and biotechnology. In addition to that, on June 11th, so a little bit more than a week and a half ago, the inaugural class of 23 OUSD students took part in an outdoor virtual graduation. So we congratulate them and look forward to their continued success. Congratulations are also in order for a Mr. Samuel Appia, who is Merritt College class of 2022, for his recent acceptance as a 2021 National Institute of Health Bridges to Baccalaureate, B2B, Summer Fellow program at the University of California, Berkeley. So the B2B program is a research opportunity that gives enterprising, ambitious community college students the opportunity to train in rich academic research settings and actually conduct research at Berkeley labs. And there are 8 different participating programs at Cal. The program is Samuel will be working in. I want to get this right. He's working at the Bactrol Lab at Berkeley's Department of Integrative Biology, and he's working with evolutionary biologist, Professor Kevin High, as his faculty mentor. So we wanted to say, go Samuel, keep up the good work, and we're very proud of you. Finally, I'm going to go off script a little bit for my Board of Trustees report and just thank everyone at Merritt College who was involved in supporting the Juneteenth event that we had on Saturday. It was a partnership between Merritt College and Kaiser Permanente to provide information in health education careers, vaccinations. We had a mobile van set up, and we had probably somewhere between 100 and 120 folks show up. Not all of those folks got vaccinations. Some of them just came for the barbecue, but we had a lot of people there, a lot of good food, music, DJ. The Oakland A's came, so I need to give a shout out to the Oakland A's who were involved and gave out free tickets and swag, and it was a really positive event. So thank you to our partners with Oakland Athletics, with Kaiser Permanente, and everyone in Merritt College who's involved in putting on that phenomenal event. Hopefully it's the first of many. So with that, I will conclude and turn it back over.
Thank you very much, Presidents. Appreciate your updates. I did want to take a few minutes to provide an update of my own, and I'd really like to start with Dr. Siri Brown. As was mentioned in the, I believe by the District Academic Senate President Donald Moore, we have had a statewide attack on fraudulent enrollment. And as part of technology security, working with a team, I'd like for Dr. Brown to give you an update, and then I will continue to speak on some health security and safety items that we've been doing here in the district. So Dr. Brown.
Thank you, Chancellor Jackson, and good evening, Board of Trustees and community and colleagues. I wanted to provide an update on the fraudulent applications that we're currently working on. And so currently there is a statewide abuse of the California Community College application system that's called CCC Apply, that's resulted in thousands of fraudulent applications across the state that's impacting many community college districts. The false applications are done in large batches and can bypass the CCC Apply system and are thus sent to districts as complete. The aim of these efforts is to fraudulently receive financial aid. So recently we discovered over 550 fraudulent applications for the month of May alone. And of those, a little over 125 had enrolled in 9 to 12 units during the summer term. The discovery of these fraudulent students resulted in an ongoing analysis and institution of preventative measures to mitigate the impact of these illegal efforts. Academic affairs, district financial aid, the internal auditor, and information technology have been communicating about the fraud to faculty, staff, and administration, installing a filter to identify and suspend suspicious applications, dropping those that have enrolled in summer and fall courses, pulling back and removing financial aid disbursements where possible, assessing new applications, and importantly, reporting this information to the state. So to date, we have, as of today, and this work happened from mid last week through today, we placed a banner on all of summer 2021 Canvas shells and sent an FAS email to faculty, asking them to be sure to complete their census on time and drop students who never attended. And especially those who did not display a phone number, because this is one of the indicators of this current batch of fraud. And we are grateful to the many faculty who did do that. It helped us cross-reference, and it gave us some insight into some of the activities of the fraudulent so-called students in their classes. And then District A&R ran a query, which was collectively analyzed for the common elements of these fraudulent applications. There are many parameters that lead us to suspect fraud. And there appears to be roughly 1,138 fraudulent summer fall applications from March 17th through today. We placed a filter on all incoming applications, and those from the query have been flagged, dropped from courses that they enrolled in, and a hold has been placed on their accounts that only the district can remove that hold at this time. And an automatic message then goes to the students requiring them for further action. And then district financial aid was able to reverse $4,800 of fraudulent summer aid that almost went out. And efforts are ongoing to remove any future disbursements through the summer and fall semester, and to analyze the total, if any, impact from the spring 2021 semester. And then lastly, I just want to note that CCC Apply 2.0, a newer, better version, will unfold this fall. And the state is promising that it is going to be more vigilant around catching fraudulent applications by implementing a two-step verification process and improving their firewall, so that hopefully we and other districts won't receive as many of these kinds of fraudulent applications. The state did send out a memo today about what's going on across the state, and they recommended that we do everything that we've already done, and reminded us about some technical pieces behind the scenes to constantly stay on top of as well. So that ends the report, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. I'd like to continue to give an update regarding health and safety. I'd like to share an excerpt from Chancellor's announcement regarding Alameda County's rescinding of the shelter-in-place order that was sent out last Thursday, June the 17th, and effectively Tuesday, June 15th, after nearly 15 months, the shelter-in-place order was implemented to help keep the community safe from the spread of COVID-19, and it has now been lifted. And that is good news for sure. But what does that mean for us here in the Peralta Community College District? From now through the end of our summer semester in July, we will continue with what we have been doing to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Campuses will remain officially closed with some exceptions for in-person classes, athletics, and individuals performing tasks deemed to be essential for the organization. As we've said throughout the pandemic, the health and safety of students and employees is our top priority, and that remains to be the case. While the number of COVID-19 infections in Alameda County have dropped, they have not disappeared. So we still need to be vigilant. As the district classified Senate President Terrence Fisher mentioned in his report, I updated them on the work the colleges along with the district are doing, working diligently on our return to campus plans. These plans in turn are discussed during a weekly District Emergency Operations Center meeting that includes executive leadership, our subject matter experts from risk management and health services, and leaders from each of the collective bargaining units. So all employees are represented appropriately. We are planning for a gradual and safe return to campus, and to date, we have not set specific timelines for full reopening of in-person courses and services. As our plans are solidified, they will be negotiated with each of the collective bargaining units and then communicated out to the community. Regarding security, I'd like to endorse the resolution on renewing support of the holistic safety and wellness of the district students. That's item 8.1. And hand in hand with this is the contract with Knowledge Saves Lives on tonight's agenda, item 7.3, which supports the district's community-based safety program. So that is my update of health, safety, including technology, physical safety, and our return to work. Thank you very much, and that concludes my presentation to the board.
Thank you, Chancellor. I believe that student trustee Micah Cooper has a question.
Hello. My question was in regards to Vice Chancellor Brown's report on fraudulent applications. I was wondering if it's known at this time if there's been any impact to the students that they should be aware of. I figure there's obvious things such as lost enrollment availability, but will there perhaps be delays to financial aid, even if just a little bit, as we triple check that they're going to the right people? Or should students go back and look at classes that may have been full because now that fraudulent applications are out, maybe they're not full anymore? Any insights like that, I'd love to know about.
Dr. Brown, would you like to address the question by the student trustee?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Those are great questions, Trustee Cooper, and the same questions we've been keeping in mind. There will not be any delay of financial aid disbursement to students that are real students and that qualify for financial aid. Instead, what we've done is we've flagged those as suspicious and pulled them out. But in terms of classes for the summer, unfortunately, the fact that we caught the number of fraudulent applications about 5 days before the last day to add, which is also the census day, may have impacted some students who wanted to enroll in a class that appeared to be full but was not. We don't have a full analysis of that, but I did message faculty about 72 hours ahead of the census to ask faculty to submit their census early to create space in their classes. And we also sought the guidance of the state around this as well. I can say confidently, though, that this will not impact the fall enrollment because we've placed the filter on. And a report was sent through the admissions and records statewide listserv that colleges and districts who put on the filter, about 95 to 98% are effective in taking out the fraudulent applications. So I believe that fall we won't see the same level of problem. However, it's always an ongoing game. They switch parameters and they're trying to always do tricks to get around things, but we're just keeping a really sharp eye and utilizing the resources of the state and our surrounding districts to give us information on what they're seeing as well.
Thank you, Dr. Brown.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor and Dr. Brown. Trustees, do I have any comments, questions for our presidents, for the Chancellor? I don't see anyone, but I do have Dr. Besikoff putting his hand up.
Just for students, I know that with around the district, there are some classes, not a huge number, but a select number of classes whose start date was yesterday. So there may be classes available for students.
Great, thank you. And I just want to shout out to the presidents, to thank you to the presidents for the never-ending work that the colleges are going through, even through the summer, because it's all incredibly important, whether it's the fun retreat that Dr. Garcia was talking about, and I don't doubt that that was not fun, I'm sure it was, or the SWOT analysis that Dr. Jones was talking about, or the partnerships that are happening at Merritt, which I think are incredibly important and also very, very exciting, and also the great work that's happening with Dr. Besikoff over at Laney College. So I just want to make sure that you all know, again, how much we appreciate your work and how much all of you do and how much all of your colleges and all the individuals within your colleges do. So thank you. All right, let's move on to 3.4. 3.4 is the public hearing on Peralta Community College District's initial proposal to the PFT, SEIU Local 1021, and Local 39, and SEIU's Local 1021 initial proposals to the district. And this is what I believe I'm to do with the public hearing. This being the time and date noticed, the Board of Trustees will now convene a public hearing to receive public comment regarding the initial proposals listed in the agenda. Madam Board Clerk, have we received any requests to speak Or is there anyone present who wishes to comment regarding this particular topic?
Madam President, I have not received any requests to speak, although we have a few people in attendees, so I can ask them to raise their hand if they are interested in speaking on this item.
Please do. Thank you.
Attendees, does anyone have any questions or comments they would like to make on this item? I see no hands raised, except on the panelist side.
Student trustee Micah, is that a latent hand? Okay, thank you. All right, if there are no comments, then I will declare the public hearing closed. And here's my virtual gavel. Thank you. Let's move on to the consent calendar. May I have a motion for the consent calendar, please?
Move approval.
Thank you, trustee Jenkins. Can I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Delphine Polk is my second.
Yes, thank you.
Great. Discussion, roll call, please.
Trustee Withrow.
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins.
Yes.
Trustee Handy.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk.
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Ewan.
Yes.
Trustee Napolia Bella-Reese.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. On to the action items. 8.1, consider approval of resolution number 20/2133, renewing support for the holistic safety and wellness of district students. Dr. Jackson or Chancellor Jackson, would you like to present or comment on that?
Commented on, well, thank you, President Reese. I commented during my chancellor's comments. I believe that this resolution is being endorsed by the board. We have gone through the shared governance process, and the last body to review this was the district's Participatory Governance Council. That was done at the very last meeting of the council right before Memorial Day in May. And so we have bringing it forward as this resolution. I won't go through all of the whereases, whereas. I think you can read for yourself. I would ask that we get down to the therefore be it resolved. And I will mention, if you could just stop right there. I did want to mention there were several items that were included in the recommendation that came forward, and we bulleted those items because it did come as a recommendation from participatory governance bodies, as well as their student participation administrators, and our classified professionals. And so those are there. One is that we look at mental health counselors, which has been there as something that will be part of our holistic approach, looking at expanding our training and diversification of our student community safety aides, looking at restorative justice training on policies and staff, mental health first aid training, looking at student services care teams and behavioral intervention teams, support students' basic needs in the areas of not only transportation, but housing insecurity and food insecurity, and also looking at working with case managers and social workers in support of our students. So be it therefore resolved that the Board of Trustees urges that these values and principles be implemented to improve public safety. And I endorse the resolution and present it therefore to the Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Chancellor Jackson. Trustees, do I have any discussion on this item? I see a few hands. Trustee Gonzalez Yuen. I see.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the Chancellor for bringing this forward, but I think even more important than that is the kind of the deep work that's been done across the district. You know, the board originally asked for some framework years ago, and Then when we finally got to actually having a vote, the vote was relatively kind of limited in what we directed. It said, we don't want guns on as part of our safety, and we want to move on to something other than the sheriff's. But there was no other real framework to work with. The community then, as is evidenced by the endorsements of all of the academic senates and the Laney College Student Senate, kind of came together and gave us a framework within which to operate. There isn't any other community college in the state that's doing this yet. And so I think we're really on the cutting edge of something. And yeah, we've had some starts and stops and we've made some errors, but that's just inevitable because what we're trying to do is brand new. It's complicated. Nobody's figured this out yet. So, you know, I think, yes, we would have liked a smoother rollout. Absolutely. But I think we could be forgiven a little bit and forgiving a little bit for all players, our vendors, our community members, our board members, our administrators, as we've done this. So I think this is a really positive step that the board is endorsing a framework. It's not endorsing specific, we're going to do exactly this or exactly that. But within this framework, I think now we can begin to really work to come up with some things that are programmatic, that are exciting. And the fact that there seems to be such collective support for this approach is exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing how we figure this out and really make it come alive and provide a model for other public agencies that are trying to do this important work. I think that's all I want to say right now. And I except to thank my board colleagues for being so persistent over many years in pushing this. The very last thing I want to say is this. I remember when we were debating this at one point, discussing it, Trustee Bonilla said, you know, the movement made this possible. What had been put forward as an idea was so limited. And then in the wake of the murder of George Floyd and the explosive protests all over the country, the whole terrain of what seemed possible shifted. And it was within that framework that we said, yes, let us rise to the occasion. And she said it so eloquently and giving credit to the movement that allowed us as a public agency to do this kind of work, as a public body to do this work. So thank you to all of my colleagues who have made this happen. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I do not see any other hands. So let us do roll call.
I think there's Student Trustee Cooper.
Oh, I'm sorry, Student Trustee Cooper.
I just wanted to briefly mention on the subject of all the work being done to formulate the proper plans and rollouts for the new public safety and security efforts. I hate to bring up anything heavy, but there's you know, an incident that took place that I fear not many people have on their radar, where only 1,000 feet, just over 1,000 feet from one of our campuses, just about a year ago, we lost the life of one of our federal officers in the federal building to alt-right extremists who planned, formulated, carried out, and got away with for some time an assassination. I just want to make sure that we have those things in our mind. I very much support ideas like getting away from having firearms on campus and stuff like that. I'm just really committed to seeing that this rollout truly proves to be a success in the sort of state first that Trustee Ewan was mentioning, so that this is a successful model that continues to spread as a standard throughout the state and the country. So I want to make sure that we don't cut any corners, and we do have those most extreme examples in the back of our mind as very real possibilities, and that we figure out what our backup plans are in the event of such an incident.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Student Trustee Micah. All right, let us move on. Oh, let's move on to the roll call, please.
I didn't get a first or a second on this item.
Move approval.
Thank you. Our second?
Second.
Second.
Trustee Withrow, second.
Okay.
Okay.
Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins?
Yes.
Trustee Handy?
Yes.
Trustee Dilton Polk?
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Ewan?
Yes.
Trustee Napolia Bellaris?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Let's move on to 8.3. I'm sorry, 8.2. Consider adoption of the Peralta Community College District's initial proposal to PFT SEIU Local 1021 and Local 39. Dr. McKinley?
Yeah, so this is, we're asking for approval for our initial proposals to the 3 bargaining units that we just had the public hearing about. And they simply are in compensation, and there is a bridge agreement with SEIU 1021 and some other return to work issues. So those are our initial proposals.
Great, thank you. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank
Second.
you. And Trustee Delphine Polk. Discussion? Okay. Let's do roll call, please.
Trustee Withrow?
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins?
Yes.
Trustee Handy?
Yes.
Trustee Dilton Polk?
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Ewan?
Yes.
Trustee Napolia Bellaris?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Right, let's move on to 8.3. Sasha, do you have an announcement on 8.3?
Yes, ma'am. Government Code Section 54953, subsection C3 requires that before taking final action, the district must orally report a summary of the recommendation regarding the salaries, salary schedules, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits of the local agency executives. Therefore, I am making the following summary regarding such items appearing on the consent agenda. Item 8.3 pertains to final action by the board regarding the recommendation to approve an amendment of employment agreement for the interim chancellor at a salary of $350,000 annually. The salary term and benefits are unchanged from the previous contract. The amendment is of the term of the agreement to extend it to June 30th, 2022. Benefits for all the interim chancellor are commensurate, described in the contract, and are package provided to all managers.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. Thank you, Trustee Jenkins. Do I have discussion? Any hands? I don't see any hands.
No hands.
All right. I would like to say something, if I may. So, should I? Yes. In my short time on the board, Dr. Jackson, I have not seen a more effective leader who has, I believe, in so many different ways, gained the board's respect and trust because of your experience, because of your intelligence, because of your data logic-driven analysis, your level of communication, your respect towards others while keeping central and institutional accountability, your empathy and emotional intelligence, your positivity, your influence, and your incredible level of integrity. And as we know with all leaders, there's always a choice as to how one is going to lead. And this is not an easy district, and this is not an easy board, but I have to say that the way you've led should be paradigmatic for the California community college system and for public agencies in general. You are one of a kind, and in the same way that you are committed to this district, to the students, we are certainly committed to also ensuring that you are successful, because when you're successful, this district and our students are successful. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you can't see my face because thank you so much.
If I could hug you, I would.
I care for this district, and I will always put my heart and soul into working for its betterment. I feel that we are on the verge of greatness, and that we need to embrace that and to move forward and shake off the shackles that have been binding us. And I hope that in some small measure, I can contribute and further your journey along that path. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, roll call.
Trustee Withrow.
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins.
Yes.
Trustee Handy.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Pope.
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez-Ewan.
With gratitude, yes.
Trustee Napolia Bella-Reese.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, okay, thank you for that. Let us move then to 8.4, consider approval of the Peralta Community College District 2021-2022 tentative budget.
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Jenkins. Discussion.
If I could interject, if we could hold discussion until after we do our board presentation, because there may be some items that we present. I'm asking that Interim Vice Chancellor Adil Ahmad walk the board through the tentative budget. I think we've allotted enough time for him to make his presentation, as well as to address any questions that the board may have. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Trustee, I'm still caught up in the moment. Thank you so much, Board President, for those kind words. I'd like to turn it over to Interim Vice Chancellor Ahmad, if you could allow us to do the presentation and then have discussion, I would appreciate it. Okay, with that, Adil, you want to get started?
Yes, Chancellor. Good evening, trustees, Chancellor, colleagues, and members of the community. Tonight, I will be presenting for you the tentative budget for fiscal year 2022. Before I do my presentations, I want to thank before you all the staff in finance and marketing to complete this budget book in a timely manner. I want also the board to understand that this budget book is mostly done manually by finance, and then submit this manual budget book to marketing, so we can have this beautiful budget book. I will start with the budget presentations. Could you, Sasha, go to the next slide? So the May revise fall into 6 category in the May revise. We have restoring college resources, post-pandemic recovery, diversity, equity, and inclusions, affordability and basic needs, and lastly, workforce. Next slide, please. The next slide from slide 3 to 7 is the details, budget revenue and expenditures assumptions in line with May revise. So I'm not gonna go through all these details. You have those details from slide 3 to 7, but I'm gonna jump to slide number 8, Sasha. The CARES Act, Project 1932. Here I'm giving you for the HERF3, the allowable cost that we should use these funds. So you have testing, preventions, cleaning and disinfections, and this is only for the institutional portions. So if you go to the next slide, please, Sasha. So we have all this that is allowable. I'm not gonna go through it, but we have all the details here, what we should use this fund for. But it's also allowed to use the HERF3 if we wanna wipe out some more student debts, which we have a task force that we're gonna talk about how we're gonna spend, because we received $36 million on the HERF3. So it's 18 million for the student aid portions, and also another 18 million for the institutional portions. Let's go to the next slide, please, Sasha. Here is the CARES Act reconciliation. This expenditures and revenue is as of June 11. And I want to just make sure that we'll let you know that we have decided that I'm going to bring to the cabinet, Chancellor cabinet, in a monthly basis, reconciliation where we're standing with our expenditures, because we have one more year to spend these funds. So as you can see, round 1, round 2, round 3. Let's take an example for the district. The district got 637,057 as the revenues, the fund we received. Berkeley City College received 14366,426. College of Alameda received 9699851, and Laney College received 27208,358. Merritt College 12406,916. So in overall, we received 64318,608, over $64 million. So as you can see, the expenditures, I details our salaries and benefit. I'm not gonna go through the details, but we spent in overall for the entire district and colleges over $1 million, which represent 1.77% of the total revenue we received. The second is the other operating expenses. Total other operating expenses in overall, we spent over 1.2 million, district and colleges. So we spent basically 1.89%. Other outgo, that is student financial aid. We spent in overall for the colleges as of June 11, over $4.8 million, which represent 7.52%. So I just the details I just details round 1 expenditures. If you look, the district spent 46.67% on round 1. Berkeley City College spent 100% on their round 1, meaning that they spent the entire amount on round 1. College of Alameda, same thing, they spent 100% of their round 1 revenues. Laney spent only 69.61%, and Merritt spent 74.72%. On round 2, only Berkeley City College spent 17.25%, and College of Alameda 18.98%. For round 1 and round 2, the college has a spending plan. And I just want to update you on this. That is not reported on this expenditure because we had approved or recommended to the Chancellor for over $4 million student wipe out. It been approved by the Chancellor finance is working toward that, so we can, process the recording into PeopleSoft. It will take a little bit more time because we have thousands of students. We're looking with AdRock, how we gonna proceed with that instead of doing manually, because if you have thousands of students, you can do the input manually. So we're trying to come up with a formula with AdRock so we can, credit the students so we can wipe out their debt for over $4 million.
And just for clarification, we are just looking at the debt that was incurred during the period of COVID-19. We are not looking at debt outside the COVID-19 shelter in place. So just for clarification on that.
Thank you, Chancellor. You're absolutely right. So for the round 3, we just received those funds like a month ago or last month. And the college person are working to have a spending plan. As I said, finance will report to the Chancellor cabinet in a monthly basis. In every meeting, I will try to bring how much we're spending, what's the amount available, because we need to spend this amount. These funds, we have practically like a year to spend all this 64 million. So, unless we have questions.
I was just going to say, just another clarification. We are looking at using the agreement has been reached with within Chancellor's cabinet that there are going to be some efficiencies. I think that we can use those funds for in our return to campus. So these are the funds that we're looking at for some of the HVAC, the filters, the cleaning in preparation for our return to campus. We just need to get some finer details, and we've already gone through an assessment, first assessment by forensics analysis, and that contract came to the board previously, and they've already done an initial assessment of the campus. And then we're looking at another assessment, and then we can go out to acquire the services, or some of it can be done in-house, but those funds we're looking at being used to take care of COVID-19 related expenses with bringing our facilities back online.
Thank you, Chancellor. Next slide, Sasha. Unless the board has a questions.
Through the president.
Yes, Trustee Jenkins.
So we use part of our CARES Act money on Chromebooks. How many of those Chromebooks got in the hands of students?
Let me just make some clarifications. The Chromebook was bought from the bonds last year. We bought for 3.5 million. We paid from the COVID-19 grant over 800,000, and the remaining balance was paid from the bond, not from the CARES Act.
Okay, how many of those Chromebooks got in the hands of students?
I have to get back on this question to you, because IT was in charge of allocating to the colleges all those Chromebooks. So I will get back to you on this. I don't have the number with me.
Trustee Delpine-Cook.
Along the same veins, I see here that you listed emergency grants to students. Can we get a breakdown of how many students received grants and how much?
So that's also I have to get back to you. I can give you only how much we pay, but I can get back to you how many students receive those financial aid portion.
Great, thank you. That would be great.
Trustee Jenkins.
What was the process for students to apply for those grants, the emergency grants?
I think Siri Brown will be the best suited to respond to that questions. They should be maybe enrolled. I will let Siri to respond to that, but we're gonna get that back to you, because finance job is to disperse those funds once we receive from the college, who they're allocating those financial aid. It came to us, we make sure that we make the verifications, that the fund is available, and we do the disbursement. but that's the college. The students are applying for financial aid through the colleges, and we just receive a statement through the system that we make sure that this is match what we have, and we proceed with the disbursement. But college president or the financial aid department or city will be best suited to respond to that question.
Through the Chancellor.
Dr. Jackson, I'd be happy to provide some comments if that was.
I was just going to ask if the president's, because the plans were developed at the college level. Thank you, Dr. Garcia, if you could address that.
Sure. For actually, give me a moment. I think I have an echo in my. Do you hear an echo? No? Oh, okay, then maybe it's just on my ears. There's very likely to be a similar process across the 4 colleges, but in relation to the question asked about the emergency grants, those are, there was I would say, a multi-pronged approach. One was communicating to students that the grants were available outside of the initial direct aid. So there was a agreed upon amount across the district for students in financial need, and their varying grant amounts that were dispersed throughout the past academic year. Then there were the emergency grants, which were addressing needs beyond. So students who were about to face housing, eviction notices, transportation, childcare, and the collaboration of students in existing programs where they were already working with folks, as well as publicly communicating to students that these were available. The process and the intention from the federal department, U.S. Department of Education, was to make it as painless as possible for students. And I do believe that not only Berkeley City College, but across the district, we did just that in terms of not requiring students to have to provide so much documentation. It was really students were expressing need, and we were expressing that there were federal dollars to support them.
Thank you. Trustee Jenkins, does that answer your question? And Trustee Delphine Pope, does that also answer your question? I believe so. Dr. Jackson, were you going to add anything else? Or
I was just going to say we have 2 sides of the house. One is just the reporting, which is what finance is doing now. The details of the disbursement is handled not only by our technology, our CTO, but also by our Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs and Student Success. So we'll have to get back to you on those specific questions. I think a deal was just providing a roll-up, because that was something that had come forward as a question from at least one of the board members. So that's why we tried to address it in this forum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. So next slide, Sasha, please. So this is the Skiff calculation, the student-centered funding formula. So part 1 is the base enrollment. As you know, the FTS is 70% system-wide, and the supplemental count of low-income students 20%, and part 3 is the student success count of success outcome with premium or outcome for low-income student 10%. So that didn't change. We still have since 1819 the same formula 70-20-10. Next slide, please. So this I'm explaining here. When we have implemented in 1819 the Skiff calculations, the state guaranteed the district in California, if we fall below 1718 TCR, total computation revenue, we were guaranteed to receive the TCR of 1718 plus if there is any COLA the following year. That's what we've been guaranteed if we fall below the 1718. So I'm just putting this what the state guaranteed us when we implemented the Skiff. Next slide, please. This is the calculation of the Skiff calculations. As you can see, the total COLA is 4.05% included in here. So as you can see, the FTS total is over 82 millions. 1,827,08,423. Then you have the supplemental allocations is 1,887,3,663. Go a little bit down, please, Sasha. So, okay. So the student success allocations is a total of over $10 million. Over $10 million. So in overall total Skiff before hold harmless, we are over $112 million. So what happened? So now the state injected some funds called Stability Protection Adjustment. They gave Peralta over $6.6 million. Not only Peralta, many colleges, because every district were declining. Most of the district were declining in the enrollment. So they stabilized and they give us a stability protection adjustment of over 6.6 million. And our hold harmless is therefore over $7.6 million, which total TCR for 2021-2022 is over $126 million, 126,546, and I don't, that's the total. Let me do this, 126,546,710. So this is our total TCR. So if you, in the next slide, I'm explaining how I came up with the $126 million. So this is what the state guaranteed us. Total computation revenue for 2017-2018. We were over 114 million. So 114,674,531. So what the state said, take the total TCR for 17-18 and add any COLA that you're receiving for each following year. So I'm adding all the COLA we're receiving here of each following years. As you can see by the total computation revenue TCR 2021-2022 is 126,546,710, which match my prior slide. So this is a way to check my numbers to make sure that my Skiff match exactly when you take what the state guaranteed us and adding the COLA. So we match, and that's good. So there is no any error. I just want to make sure that I'm not overstating the Skiff calculation. Next slide, please. So this is the 5-year projections. So the 5-year projections, Peralta started to do that. I think the last 2 years, we started to present the 5-year projections. In the prior, in 17-18, in 18-19, we were doing only the tentative budget. We wasn't projecting 5 years budget, forecasting 5 years budget. Tentative budget 21-22. We have a total revenue over 147 million. In this 147 million include the COLA, the 4.05% we're receiving from the state. But in the expenditure side, the COLA does not reflected in the expenditure side. Why? Because negotiation is in process with the 3 bargaining unit. So that's why we didn't include it, because when you want to include the COLA goes with position control. So we want to know what's been negotiated so we can include it in our position control calculations. So therefore, our total expenses over $140 million, and we generated a revenue of 147 million. So our beginning fund balance from prior year is over $23 million. So we're carrying a positive fund balance of $6.4 million, which our ending fund balance will be a little bit less than $30 million, 29630,690,318, which represent 21.07%. Our fund balance is over the 10% that the board required policy, but we need to understand that the COLA is not part of it now. And also we need to have a good fund balance to offset any future expenditures such as the STIRS, PERS, health benefits increasing, also the utilities and the step-on column. We're generating every year between $3.8 to $4 million increases on the salaries, total personal costs, which mean salary and benefit. So having a good fund balance is good for the institutions. And that's why we have this fund balance. And I want to thank the Chancellor. If you go a little bit down, Sasha, we frozen I can't see it. So we frozen $4.4 million position control. In the position control, we put zero salary, zero benefit. We frozen, we reduced our expenditures by $4.4 million. That's why we're carrying a positive fund balance of $6.4 million for that year for the tentative budget. Now, if I jump to the projection fiscal year 24-25 with hold harmless, we're generating over 153 million revenues, and our expenditures is 151 million. So we're still carrying a positive fund balance of over $2 million, which our ending fund balance will be over $39 million with a fund balance of 26.23%. And this is if the hold harmless is extended for another year. But if it's not extended, as you can see in 24-25, without hold harmless, our revenue will be reduced by, we're going to generate over $145 million, and our expenses will be $151 million. So we're going to have a negative fund balance over $6 million, and we're going to have a fund balance, ending fund balance over 22%. So we're preparing the institutions to have a balanced budget. If the hold harmless is not extended, we believe that we can sustain and we can have a fiscal stability in Peralta. It's always good to project 5 years to see where we're landing, so we can be sure that we have a good fund balance to continue carrying the institution to have stability, fiscal stability. So that's if you have any question before I move on, and I will listen to your question.
I believe Jens has a question.
Thank you for that. A couple of questions on this slide. What percentage of the budget is unfilled positions? And then I see that the classified has a higher number. I think it's about what, $4 million. So why is the classified side much higher? And then this one to the administration, is there any type of analysis of what type of service interruptions we'll get with the unfilled positions?
So let me say this. We had a vacant position over $15 million. And now the vacant position is only 10 million because 10.6 million because we frozen 4.4 million. And some of them is already went to process to be hired. So these vacant positions is up and down because people are retiring, people are coming, people are leaving. So we always had these vacant positions, but actually we have roughly $10 million on vacant position that's to be hired and is in process of hiring. I signed money, RTA, a request to advertise. So the percentage is 10 million, can divide by our expenditures, how much that represent. I don't have a calculator in front of me, but the vacant position is now $10 million in this budget.
Are there any other questions from trustees?
I have one more.
Sure.
How much in total student debt do we have?
So, you know, the student debt is up and down. I believe we are about $22 million student debt, but I want to also I want to make sure that I'm clear on that. We had bad debt allowances. We have over 8.5 million that offset the debt of the student. If you have 22 minus, that's the contra account, what we call it, contra account, will offset because we are budgeting every year, bad debt allowance that goes to expenses and contra account to the account receivables. So we have 22 minus 8. Then we have a net $14 million student debt, and we're gonna offset with the CARES Act another $4 million. So our debt will be now at $10 million.
When do we write that debt off, and where is it accounted for in the budget?
Okay, that's in the balance sheet. Here you have only revenue and expenditures. That's a balance sheet account receivables that is not reflected in here. We have Trustee Junkin, we have what we call subsidiary student ledger, where you have all the student with details debt, right? And that's because it's account receivables. It's in the balance sheet account. It's not in the financial statement. It's in the balance sheet. Here we're presenting only the financial statement.
Thank you.
Just a comment. One of the things that we're looking at as part of the professional development of the board, just like we look at professional development for administrators, classified professionals, as well as faculty, is to have a more face-to-face when we get to that part, with the shelter in place being lifted and us moving forward for the fall semester, of having some workshops with board members so that we do not have a quorum to discuss on maybe 1 to 2 or 3 members of the board, and to go through our, not the tentative budget, but to go through our recommended adopted budget that will be coming up in September. So you will be hearing from us on that, because we want you to understand the budget and the differences and where the funding comes from and the allocation. And hopefully by that time we will have finished with our negotiations with our bargaining units. That's a hope. So that we would be able to provide that to the board when we come back in September for an adopted budget. So stay tuned, Trustee Jenkins. We plan on doing some more training on that for the board.
Trustees, any other questions? Maybe just a few comments. First of all, thank you so much for getting back to the trustees with our questions. I know that we gave you all quite a few questions, but your responses were timely, they were thorough, and they were complete exactly as we needed them to be. So thank you for that. A couple different things. We had today a conversation about the student debt. Vice Chancellor Mead at our Budget and Finance Committee, and this might be relevant to what you were asking, Trustee Jenkins, because it'd be great, Chancellor, at a certain point to be able to get updates as to, yes, I know that we're doing $4 million from the funds, from the emergency relief funds towards the student debt, and that we've been paying off the student debt over the years through our bad debt allowance. But it'd be good to actually be able to think and consider some of the both short and long-term plans, because student debt will continue to increase, right? So as you all in the finance department, with your direction, Chancellor, to be able to kind of come back and give us, the board, an update as to how we are going to wrap our hands or our arms around that, and also where we are currently as it is specific to the kind of the dollars and cents. And then the other question that I have is the HERF funds, Chancellor or Vice Chancellor Ahmed, just if we could look at, because $36 million for round 3 is a lot of money, right? Because we've already gotten HERF 1 and HERF 2 and then the other emergency relief funds. It'd be curious to see what the other districts are doing in terms of how they're spending that money, just to ensure that we're kind of in line with them. So again, updates on the emergency relief funds, how we're doing, how we're spending them. That's a little bit tangential to the budget, but that would be great to find out. And it was really wonderful to hear from Dr. Garcia, and I'm sure all of the other colleges are doing it, that we were able to give those funds to the students by making it easier for them rather than going through the multitudinal steps of the financial aid process normally, because we wanted to give those funds to them when they needed it. So that was really wonderful to hear. But other than that, just the updates forthcoming, if we can have those so that we continue to stay on this. And thank you for being very quick to respond to our questions regarding the tentative budget.
Thank you, and we will keep you apprised as we move forward. We are, as the Vice Chancellor Ahmed mentioned, bringing this up on an ongoing basis in our Chancellor's cabinet, because we have students that are in need. And so the last thing we want to do is to turn money back to the federal government. When we have students that are in need, that have issues concerning, insecurities, food, housing, transportation. And so we are committed, and that's why we have a task force that is working towards that end. And we want to make sure that when we do return back to campus, it is a safe campus for all, not only our students, but for our faculty and our staff and administrators as well. So that is also what those funds are going to be used for. So we're astutely aware that it is a lot of money, but it will go toward to alleviate some of the costs that we have and we plan on incurring as we transition back to face-to-face.
Thank you. I think if there are no other questions, we can do roll call.
Trustee Withrow.
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins.
Yes.
Trustee Handy.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk.
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Ewan.
Yes.
Trustee Napolia Bellaris.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And our very last item of the evening, 8.5, consider approval of the Merritt College mission statement.
Move approval.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion or presenter? Dr. Johnson?
I can say a few words just really quickly. I know I'm standing between us and a journey, so I'll be brief. In short, in alignment with our integrated planning and budgeting process, folks, we spent the last several months crafting, discussing, and really revising our mission statement. We've done it aside from the need to do it to meet ACC-JC requirements, and aside from it being part of the educational master planning. It's meaningful work in the sense that it articulates who we are and what we're committed to doing. Faculty, students, and administrators all provided input and offer perspective. So as such, we present for your consideration tonight the following mission statement that you see on the screen.
Trustees, any comments, discussion? If none, let us do roll call.
Trustee Withrow.
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins.
Yes.
Trustee Handy.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk.
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Ewan.
Yes.
Trustee Napolia Bellaris.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Let's move on to reports, the Board of Trustees reports. Trustee Jenkins.
Thank you, pass.
Thank you. Trustee Delphine Polk.
I'll also pass. Thank you.
Trustee Gonzalez Ewan.
I'm all good. Thank you.
Trustee Withrow.
I'll pass. Thank you.
Trustee Handy.
Pass.
And Trustee Bonilla.
I will pass. Thank you.
All righty. Announcements. Vice President Gonzalez Ewan, all yours. Do you have any?
Give me a second. That went so fast. I wasn't quite ready for it. I've got the window up and I just need to find it now. Had to close a bunch of windows here, sorry. Sasha sent it to me, I had it up. Okay, here we go. First and foremost, we would like to acknowledge our federal government lawmakers who have finally made Juneteenth, June 19, a federal holiday in the United States, commemorating the emancipation of enslaved African Americans. While the decision was too late to be included in our current fiscal year holiday list, Juneteenth will be added to the Peralta Community College District holiday schedule for 21-22. Enrollment is open for, and I just want to pause there for a second because that is like, all right. I'm just going to pause for a second on that one. Enrollment is open for fall 2021 classes, so enroll now. Peralta Community College District office staff across all the district campuses are working a 4x10 summer schedule in June and July with 10-hour days scheduled Monday through Thursday, closed on Fridays. This office schedule does not impact the teaching schedule, which includes classes taught on Fridays in some cases. The district and all 4 colleges are closed on Monday, July 5th in observation of the Independence Day holiday. And the next board meeting will be on July 13, 2021. That's all I have.
Fantastic. All righty. I think that means that the meeting is adjourned and we are done. We will see you all at the next meeting. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening and be safe. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, staff. Thank you, administrators.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.